Alrighty, so we're finally here. Just adding some final few touches and animation to render out the final scene. Thank you all for sticking around this far. For those who like messing with ZBrush and Blender, I hope these info was helpful. Please do let me know if you have any questions about my workflow in this video, and please do share me your artwork. If this tutorial helped create something in any way. I like creating artwork, but at the same time, I like teaching as well. So it's always very humbling to see artists or students who see my previous tutorial and hearing them talk about how help them break into the industry or improve their artwork. But yeah, again, I hope these videos were helpful. And with that being said, let's push through with this final video. Alright, so first up, let's try to deal with this edge right here. Okay, so I'm gonna go to this render mode, and because cycles takes such a huge toll on my computer with the Camtasia, I'm just gonna try to change this to EV, so it's a little more easier. Okay, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. So with this, I'm gonna go to shading and change this to EV, right? Yeah, EV. Okay, so in this mode, I'm gonna isolate this, or yeah, you know what? Let me go to this view first. Okay, so top view, and then on this, I'm going to add a gradient texture over this, and then since I have my node wrangler on, let's see, add on. Yeah, node wrangler, make sure this thing is turned on so that I could just press Ctrl T to apply that. And then I'm just going to connect this to alpha. Okay, so right now it's linear, and I wanted to change this to spherical. So you can kind of see the alpha is affecting right here, right? Let me see, Control A. Why is it in the weird corner right there? Okay. Let me add a color ramp right here so I could just kind of boost the contrast a bit, so you kind of see like what's going on, right? So I want to bring that to the center, so let's do that. What I'm gonna do is change this generated to object, and it's a little too small, so I'm just gonna select all the scale and then just boost it up. Hold shift for better control. Something like this, right? And then because the edge is a little too harsh, I could just play around with the color ramp a bit to give that softer edge right here. So yeah, that should do. And if I were to control number pad 0 and then look at it, yeah, it's a lot more softer. You could adjust it a bit more if you want. Something like that. Yeah, it's still pretty soft. So yeah, there you go. We have the nice edge, or soft edge. Okay, so another thing I want to do is just kind of add a little more detail onto these floors. So to start off, I kind of talked about it earlier, but let's use Cablerator and just start kind of drawing these kind of cables all over. Okay. Oh, sorry there. Oops. Yeah, something like that. Maybe right here too. Cool. So it's kind of cool how it just kind of dangles down. So that's why I kind of did that. Let's see. We're gonna click outside because that's okay, and then if I want to see how it looks, so you kind of see a little more detail, right? And if this is a little too thick, then Control Shift or Alt Shift C, edit cable, and then just scale it down. And remember, if I press B, I could switch through different cables, or Shift B, and then it'll give me all these different choices of cables. Okay, so maybe something like this. Okay, then I could also add in a texture. Let's see, the good old rubber texture. So yeah, it's a little more interesting, right? So yeah, I might do a few more of these guys just from the top. So let me just kind of skip forward. So here's another thing I want to do to add a little more of a mood to this. I'm gonna go ahead and add some fog. So to do that, I'm gonna go to shading, and EV is turned on, and I'm gonna add a sphere, or I mean cube, and just scale this up so it just pretty much hides everything. Something around here is fine. And this is something that I learned from watching the mighty Ryan King art on tutorial on YouTube. So if you guys don't know who Ryan King is, and you guys use Blender, then I don't know what you guys are doing, because his stuff is just amazing. Very well informed videos that covers pretty much anything Blender related. So yeah, make sure to check out his YouTube page. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get rid of principal BSDF and instead add principal volume right there, right? And then I'm going to connect the volume to volume, and you can already kind of see, right, this nice fog effect kind of thing. So let's see the camera view. As a matter of fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this over and then get the timeline right here so I can see what's going on. So I control the camera and then control 0 so you can kind of see how it's looking, right? Something like this. Okay, so I'm going to select D, principal BSDF again, and this might be a little too dense, so maybe let's try like 0.1 or something like that. So yeah, it's a little bit mood, and I'm gonna, and then also I could probably bring it down too, because in the end I just want to use this fog to just kind of like blur that little edge even further, and I also don't want to hide too much of the model, right? So just something like that might be good enough, to be honest. So something like this, and yeah, I think I want to say this already looks pretty nice, so I think it's fine. But let's see, 0.05 to make it a little less dense. Okay, yeah. You know what? I'm just gonna keep it like this, because I know that if I keep adding stuff, this is going to pretty much be way too heavy for my render, okay? And if I were to render right now, I don't know, even sure if it's gonna render. So let's try cycles and oof. Okay, so yep, the file crashed, so I might keep this. Let me just turn on the viewport to bounds. So I might, who knows, I might keep this or I might delete it for the render. It will be nice because it does add such a mood to this piece, but at the same time I don't know if it's gonna be able to sustain the render, okay? So we'll see. So it looks like I'm still in the clears, even with this deep fog and with all these like textures and mesh. I'm still able to somewhat render it. So yeah, I think I could keep going with this. Oh, oops, it looks like I have the fingers. So yeah, literally this is what I'm gonna be doing, like just fixing things and seeing if it looks good in the video, and then if it looks off, then I'm gonna, you know, just re-render the whole scene. So yeah, let's do that. Okay, and one last thing I want to do is because I spoke of doing like a fluid simulator thing that kind of goes up from within the skull, I've been looking for some tutorials that deals with fluid simulator, but none of them on the tutorial worked except one that kind of deals with particle system. So this one I got from watching Simon 3D's tutorial, which he mentions he got it from Max Edge 420. So yeah, I mean, whichever tutorial you want to go to, I think they're both very relevant and will explain a lot better than I can. So yeah, if what I'm explaining doesn't make sense, then make sure to check out their page. So first, I'm going to hide these girls in the front so it's not going to obstruct our views. But what I did was I created a new timeline from 901 to 1100. And if I press space, it's just basically an animation for this camera to kind of zoom out. And basically what I'm imagining is while the camera is zooming out, the liquid will flow out of the eye and some part of the bodies, right? So that's sort of the setup that I kind of started, okay? Next up, I'm gonna create a meta ball right here. So there you go, meta ball. And I'm just gonna scooch this guy back there, okay? So it's not in the way. And I'm going to also bring in the mesh of icosphere, and this doesn't need to be huge, so I'm just gonna keep it 1. And before I scale it down, I'm going to also bring in a what was I gonna do? Curve, right? There's a curve, and then you can't see it, so let's make it into a 5-meter radius, right? So I'm just gonna scooch it to the right for now. And on top of that, here's an important thing, okay? So this curve, I'm going to press M and create a new collection just for this curve, okay? So let's call this, I don't know, curve 1. Okay, so I got this curve 1 folder collection right here, okay? Then I'm going to go to physics right here and apply the force field onto the curve and change the force curve guide for the curve, right? And then for the icosphere, I'm going to go to the particles and add a new particle system here. And I'm gonna go down, and instead of render as halo, I'm going to go to object and select the M ball, okay? So we got that going. And if I were to press play, oh, one other thing, because the time frame is 901 to 1100, I'm going to change the start frame to 901 and 1100 as well. Okay, so if I were to press play, something is happening, but it's kind of weird, right? Little particle stuff flying. So what I need to do now is change the scale to 1. Alright, so now if I press play, there you go. Starting to see something happening, right? Kind of like this liquidy type of feel. Alright. So I'm just gonna make another one real quick, just as a recap. So first of all, our curve, and I'm gonna this time bring it to the left side. And then this, you don't have to do this, but I'm just gonna turn it 180. Alright. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to click on this end of the curve, cursor to selected, and bring in the icosphere. All right, there you go. And pretty much do the same thing, right? So physics, add the physics, or I mean particles, and instead of halo, choose object and choose the meta ball. All right, I'm going to change the scale to 1 once again, and for the curve, I'm going to go to physics, force field, and curve guide. And again, what I'm going to do is, while I have the curve, press M, create a new scene, and call this one curve 2. Alright, so this is what I wanted to do. So if I were to press play right now, you see how the meta ball just kind of clumps up together like this right now, right? That's because this meta ball here, or this particle wants to follow this line, but then it's also wanting to follow this curve too. So this is where I need to select these guys and go to where was it? Field weight, and this one is following the curve 1, so I'm gonna choose collector curve 1. There you go. And then I'm gonna select this guy right here, and instead of curve 1, I'm gonna select curve 2. So now if I press play, this one's not doing it because, again, I forgot to switch this to 901 and then 1100. Okay, so if I were to go back, boom, there you go. So we got 2 direction of flows happening. So perfect. So now that I'm happy with the direction of the blob, I'm gonna scale it down. Okay, so let me make sure that I select the icosphere, select these guys, I select the metal ball 2, and instead of individual origin, scale is fine, and I'm just gonna scale it down a tad, just like that, something like that. If I press play, then yeah, a little more smaller, right? I could probably scale it down just a tad more. You don't want to go too small though, because like once you do it, scale it too small, then the particle starts to kind of get funky. So that is good for now. And what I'm gonna do is, okay, let's see. Let me just go with this guy first. Or here, let me hide these shatters so I could see what's happening. So this is the icosphere. Okay, should have been jammed in there. Where's the icosphere? Okay, so got the icosphere right there. Okay. Okay, I see. Don't think. Okay, so I'm gonna bring it out just a bit. Matter of fact, I'm just gonna scale everything down just a bit more. Okay. Then. First of all, let me scooch this guy up right here, and same with this guy. Not the curve though. Or yeah, I mean I do need to bring the curve, so I'm gonna bring the curve right here. Oh, I think I shouldn't get the meta ball. Okay, there we go. So we got the 2 eyes. Alright, and then what I'm gonna do next is kind of adjust the curve, right? Because if I press play, it's gonna just go sideways. I don't want that. So let me just face the curve to face the proper way, okay? Tabs, kind of bring it out like this, maybe. Okay, front view. Something like that. So this one goes up, and I need to fix this one. Kind of reminds me of that one. What is it, that that zombie mushroom kind of thing, fungus, where it takes over human mind, or was it the snail's mind, right? I forgot what it's called. It's like really cool. What you call it? Zombie plant mushroom thing. Anyways, so it just kind of comes out like that. Alright, still a little too big, but don't worry, you kind of see like little bits and pieces kind of like exploding out of places, but don't worry, I'm gonna fix that as well. For now, I'm just focusing on the curve. Okay, so just kind of scale that in, just kind of relatively where I want it to. Maybe I could kind of make it a little dip like this. Inwards. That should be good for now. If I press play. Okay, so getting there, getting closer, guys. Probably could push the scale up icosphere and the meta ball just a tad more like that. Okay, cool. So we got that. And on top of that, what I can also do is select the edge of the curve, or both ends. I could also add another subdivision, see if that will do better with the control. Okay. So yeah, a little better. But let me just fix the flow a bit, okay, before I kind of adjust the curve a bit more. So what I'm gonna do, go to icosphere, select this guy first, okay. And instead of lifetime being 50, I'm just gonna add another 0, see what that does. 0, power press play. Okay, so you can see that it's a little more kind of like a solid shape, right? Might be good, might be too solid. Bring the lifetime randomness and then also scale randomness. That would add a little more of that wobbliness look. This is kind of cool. might be a little fast still. You can see the flow. Kind of feels like a more liquidy feel, but then it still kind of feels a little fast, right? So yeah, that guy needs to be changed. So you could see that once I adjust the numbers, like some of these elements kind of get a little funky. So it's just a lot of kind of pushing back and forth with these numbers. But just kind of focusing on this guy for now. You could also increase the number of that. See how that does. Okay. So that's too much. I think that was fine. Okay, so this is good, and I still think the scale is a little too big, so I could also decrease the scale through here too. So let's go 0.5. Let's see what that does. Okay, so 0.5. Okay, seems a little better, but then in this case it's a little too split out. So in this case, I could probably add another number. Yeah, so that's a little too weird. Play around with the lifetime, maybe add another 0. Come on. So yeah, it's kind of getting there, but it's still taking a bit longer. So let me just keep adjusting and find that good number. Alright, so here we have it. If I were to press play, this is how it's looking so far. So this is kind of like the number that I'm settling towards, like 500, 0, 901, 110, 5000, 1, scale 0.5. Also, if I want to kind of increase the resolution of the metal ball, what I could do is go to the metal ball setting right here and just kind of drop this to like 0.3 or something. And that should give a bit more resolution, which might be fine if it's 0.4. Okay, so that might be good. Last thing I want to do, this might chug a bit, but go to render view. So give that a second. So at the moment the color is white, so what I could do, let's kind of go in this middle section right here, around here-ish. Alt M and apply a new material. Okay, and then just make this into gold color or something like that. Okay. Alright, so here is the final outcome of the liquid. So I got it coming from one eye, the other eye, and some other golden areas. And then on top of that, I had a little extra arm animation for some kind of like a dramatic look to it. So that's kind of looking really cool and finish. Alright, so that's basically how I got to this point. And just a quick rundown of what's happening with the back of the arm. I'm basically cheating. You know, there's nothing really connecting. You could kind of say that this little cylinder part is what source of connection, yeah, this is just all a cheat. You can't really see from this camera view, you can't see the back, so it's all good. And remember, with the animation, I have these guys origins set to the pivot point right here, and with the fingers, right? So all I gotta do is set the keyframe, and they're parented together. So as long as if I press RXX, I could just play around with however animation I want to, right? So yeah, so I could just kind of adjust it like that. All right. And then just inserting the keyframe. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Last but not least, in the final shot, I want to fix the lighting, and let's see, because this is where the lighting direction is, and I kind of have a little bit of like a adjustment with the lighting too, animation with the lighting too. So I might have to like play around with, because in the end it kind of looked way too dark, right? So I might have to like pump up the lighting, or let's say, I don't know, let's see how it looks if I were to fix it this way. So you can kind of see a little more. in this view, or maybe it could be like backlit like this. I gotta see what I want to do. So this is really dramatic, but I don't know if that's gonna really, it's not really showcasing anything. So I just gotta adjust how I want to and find a good area of where I want the light to be, most likely from the top for sure. So I just gotta play around with it. All right, so yeah, once I do that, again, I just gotta render it as a video, and for my computer, the MPEG 4, and yeah, 900 to 1440. All right, and also on top of that, let me just backtrack to 0 on what I have pretty much for everything. Okay, so if I were to unhide everything, so this is what's happening. So remember this first shot, I'm gonna render this first shot. All right, and then zoom in and break, and that's one shot. Okay, and then so I'm gonna render up to 0 to 500, and from 501 I'm gonna make another render, just a close up of the hand, render. It's kind of weird, I might have to change this, and then another cut. So I'm going to stop at 700, 500 to 700, and from 701, I'm going to do like a back shot. And you see these hands, I'm going to hide it. So when I render it, I'm going to turn off these cameras so it's not going to render. So I'm going to have this back shot render right here. All right, so that's that. And then in the end, I have this shot right here. The 901 to 1440. Oh, and then of course, I'll have to hide all these guys in the front as well. Okay, I'm gonna render this shot, so it's gonna render, and then maybe I might have to scooch these guys a bit. Okay, because it's kind of hiding it, just like a little cheat still, but so just kind of like right here, give it a little space, right? So it's again a little cheat. But yeah, those are the 4 different shots, and I'll have to just compile it using Camtasia later. Cool, and let's see how it looks. All right, so here we have the first pass with the rendering. All in all, I think it's looking really sweet. Yes, just the lighting is looking good. The animation feels right to me. However, as you notice in this beginning, you see these flickers, right? Let me just kind of see with the timeline. You see this flicker that's happening. So these flickers are kind of causing a problem, and I believe the issue is because I had motion blur turned on. Okay, because as you can see with this video, you know, when this thing happens, when this flicker happens, there's this blur on, so you know it's probably motion blur. And also earlier I did talk about, you know, just be careful with scaling the what you call it, the M ball and the particle, because that tends to do some funky stuff. So you know, like that's probably the combo of those might be the case. So let's just turn off the motion blur and re-render it again and see how that goes. Okay, so yeah, there you have it. No more flickering in the beginning. If I pause it, yeah, everything's looking good. So perfect. Yeah, I think that was the case. Just turn off the motion blur, and it was nice that when the hand flung out, there was a bit of a blur, but because this whole animation is pretty slow, I don't think it's that big of a noticeable change. So I could live without the motion blur in this. So from here on, now I have all the scenes rendered. I might have to re-render some. So here is the back shot. You see how it's kind of very low res, so I need to compile this. I need to re-render this again. Same, got the hand render part. and kind of feels blurry because I think that's because of the low res render pass I did. So there's that, and then in the beginning too, I got this render happening, and this one seems fine except that little glitch that's happening. Flick, flick. You see that? I tried messing with the light right there, so I don't like that. So I'm gonna turn that off. And cool. So yeah, these are the 4 renders I'm talking about, right? So this is the intro, and then it cuts to this hand zooming in around here-ish, and then cuts to this back shot like this, and then finally ends with this shot right here. Okay, then done. So cool. Let me just compile all these and show you the final. There you have it. So I'm gonna call it done with this piece. Ended the scene with the title Soul to give a bit of that cinematic feel to this video. To be honest, there's no particular meaning behind the title. I just saw a cyborg with the inner soul giving it life to this entity, so that's why I'm calling it Soul. But you might be wondering, wait, that's not the correct way of spelling soul. It should be S-O-U-L. And you're absolutely right. I just misspelled it early on during Zebra stage and just kept running with it. And on the way, when I realized the misspelling, I was just like, let's just go with it. Anyways, so for those who stuck around till the end, thank you again for watching this whole journey. This personal project has been a learning experience, but also became a self-reflection and a therapy piece for me during this tough time. I'm not a religious or a spiritual person, but I've been thinking while working on this piece, why am I creating something etherical, meditating, praying person like this, right? Sure, it started off as an inspiration from this audiobook called Better Paradise and other artists' work and things like Death Stranding, but I think it stems from my belief of something that is higher up there, a greater entity that is controllable, powerful, and out of anyone's scope, like how the COVID crash kind of affected many artists like me, and with the studio shutdowns and layoffs, and yeah, I mean, it was just out of my control. And losing a job, I feel, is nothing compared to other countries who are forced to fight in the war and don't even have a choice to do art, right? Who knows? Maybe I'll be in that same shoes with how the world is playing out these days. Things are just kind of unpredictable and uncontrollable at times, and I'm just wondering if maybe that is something I wanted to visualize here. My purpose, or my search for purpose, direction of life's choice, questioning the world and myself, all just kind of gathered into this final image, like this world of unknown. And at times these thoughts can be very scary and stressful, weighing heavily on me, but this is where I have an outlet as a creative, and I can visualize how I feel, and honestly, it's a stress reliever doing so. This art piece may not serve a purpose in finding security or preventing future stress or anxiety, but I feel like it's a step forward. You know, it's like doing a nice workout exercise and feeling good afterwards. A little better version of myself, and a version of myself stepping one step closer to finding that answer. And I feel very blessed and fortunate to be in a place to do so. Not in a war zone, right? Again, I never had a clear thought process or direction when I started this piece. All I wanted to do was record some tutorials, since I like to teach, and do some cool sci-fi piece because I like doing hard surface designs. It's just an interesting why and how it ended up looking like this in the end. But yeah, anywho, thank you all for sticking around this whole time, and once I have another creative itch, I suppose I can make another video sometimes in the future. But yeah, thanks again, and bye.